What's up, guys? Welcome back to MLG Studios here in New York City. I'm axeltoss. I'm joined by axslav. Today we're watching Game Battles Tournament, StarCraft 2 1 vs 1 Heart of the Swarm tournament that is going on. Of course, you can play in it if you want. gamebattles.majorleaguegaming.com and have the chance to be casted by us.
Chance to win some money, too.
Chance to win some money, chance to show your skills. Maybe the latter isn't enough for you, and you want to try out some competitive play. Now, Game Battles has a couple options. One, you can play free-to-play tournaments, and you can win credits based on your performance in those tournaments. And you can play tournaments that require credits to enter, from which you win prizes.
Yes, that's correct. And also, if you want to go straight for the credit to enter tournaments, you can also buy credits.
Yeah.
So there's two ways to get the entry fee. One is by winning the free tournaments. The other is, of course, you can just pay the entry fee.
And of course, today we've been casting the semifinals and finals of one of the tournaments. We just saw RSVP get a spot in the final, and now we're going to move to the second semifinal. Let's go ahead and get into it. It's going to be a best of 3.
2 players. It's going to be Monster versus LaTortuga.
Of course, we'll have to see who wins. They're purple and pink on my screen, at least. Of course, LaTortuga is the purple Protoss in the top right-hand location. His opponent in the bottom left is the pink Protoss player, Monster. Lots of Protoss is doing well in the Game Battles tournaments, Mr. Nicholas.
It seems that way.
Zergs and Terrans at home, if you're watching this right now and you're not playing in Game Battles, you're letting these Protosses roll over everyone.
Stand up for your race, man.
Stand up for your race. If that doesn't inspire you, I do not know what will. Because you belong on this screen, playing in front of hundreds of thousands across the world. Of course, I'm sure these guys deserve it as well.
Of course.
They've had very long tournaments. I'm assuming they've fought very hard to get to this point, and now they're trying to get to the finals, where RSVP awaits them. The map is Cloud Kingdom, a map we have not yet seen in today's broadcast. A map in Wings of Liberty that Blink Stalker was a heavy favorite because of the accessibility of the main base from the low ground. And of course, the ease of going and pressuring the main in the natural expansion. Only have to jump up and down a cliff, whereas your opponent has to go up and down a ramp. So you can do it pretty fast, pretty quick. If your opponent goes some sort of robo-expand, it can be pretty difficult for them to defend unless their micro is perfect. But Heart of the Swarm might be a little bit different. Of course, so with the inclusion of the Mothership Core, it's a little bit easier to defend that natural expansion. So we'll have to see what these two guys end up doing.
It is, you know, I think the Blink Stalker builds have, they're still decent, but like in Wings of Liberty, Blink Stalker Observer was overall the most common opening. I mean, there were plenty of other builds, but overall was one of the most common. In Heart of the Storm, it's still there, but it's not the most common. I think it's definitely pressure into expand builds, fast expand builds, Phoenix builds, DT builds are all more popular. Of course, DT builds are very good against Blink Stalker builds in Heart of the Swarm because you can, in Wings of Liberty, if you went for DTs, it'd be very hard to stall for long enough to actually get them and not take too much damage from Blink Stalkers that basically committed you into hoping that you would totally kill them with DTs. But in Heart of the Swarm, the 100 less gas at a Dark Shrine means 1 extra sentry early, which helps so much for defending those early attacks as far as just getting enough force fields to buy time to get those Dark Templar out.
So Tortuga was going to make a gateway there, but changed his mind.
Got the Mothership Core instead.
Got the Mothership Core instead, also getting a Stalker Chrono boosted out, wants that probe out of here. Of course, the probe can spot the Nexus and identify that the Mothership Core is being made. So he's going to be able to spot that.
One thing that's interesting, look how much Chrono Boost Monster has. Typically, in Heart of the Swarm, people use a lot more Chrono under probes, but he's really saving it to really crank out Warp Gate as fast as possible, which I think means he's definitely going to be looking to put on a good amount of pressure. That probe he adds will be building pylons. In fact, actually, he might even put his probes hiding on a nice little ledge right there. That's a great spot to put a pylon.
And I bet that's going to happen. That is a great spot to put a pylon, of course. Has 2 guys in each cast, only 2 gates on the field thus far. Going to be tacking on a Sentry and a Zealot and Chrono boosting the Warp Gate. Might try to go expand. Interestingly enough, Mothership Core just now popping out, and I think that's exactly what he's going to do. Meanwhile, his opponent has elected to go for the Stargate, which is about halfway from completing.
So this is interesting. He chrono boosts Warp Gate out like a madman, not to put on pressure, but so he'd have Warp Gate fast to warp in units if he needed to defend the Nexus. It's kind of a cool little thing to do. Although I personally prefer building probes and delaying the Nexus just a little bit, because I think you have better economy doing that. But you know, either way can work. Either way works fine. And he will have the warp gate up very fast. I assume he's going to warp in some more sentries. Actually, yeah, more sentries would make the most sense. And then as soon as his first sentry has 100 energy, if he sees no pressure coming, he'll scout with that. Unless, wait, this probe might see what it needs to see. It's going to see the expansion, so he'll still probably want to use a hallucination scout so he can tell how his opponent's following this up. And the cool thing about that is, yes, he's building the robo, but if he sends his observer out and his opponent went DTs, he could be in trouble. Or if he sends his observer out and his opponent went observer 2 and he loses his observer, that can be bad as well. So the hallucination scout is really nice right at this moment to say, oh, is he going air, is he going DTs, is he going robo, and know how to proceed into the mid game.
Something fancy you can even do is hallucinate an oracle.
Oh, yes.
And send that to your opponent's main mineral. And this applies to pretty much every matchup. If you can just get them to be scared for a second and pull those workers, it's already going to be worth it. So, you know, that's a cool thing you can do, Monster. Not going to be doing that just yet. Adding on an observer out of that robotics facility. Sentries do not yet have enough energy for that hallucinate.
Oh, he's sending out a Phoenix right now.
Never mind.
Yep, there we go. So, the Phoenix, you know, won't scare your opponent like an Oracle would, but it will cross the map faster.
Yes.
So it's kind of a trade-off. Both have their own uses. And I think he will see the fact that Tortuga is going Phoenixes, which is very useful. If your opponent gets 4 Phoenixes, and before you realize it, by the time the 4th Phoenix comes out, they have 6 lifts. And if they get in your base and kill 6 probes before you can even recognize it, you could just pretty much lose the game straight out. But if he knows it's coming, he should have units in both his bases ready to defend, so he should be okay. But right now, it's only 2 Stalkers, and if Tortuga's lift micro is spot on, he can ignore the Stalkers and still get the 6 probe kills. And now it's a 3rd Stalker. If he can get up to 4, that's really the number you want to deter a 4 Phoenix harass. But Tortuga's going to back away. He's actually might run into the... Oh, is he going to focus the hurt? Oh, he focuses the wrong Phoenix with that, unfortunately, so not too much damage being done.
All right, so he's just going to get some scouting information off of those 4 Phoenixes. Adding a Void Ray behind this going to be able to spot his opponent's robotic facility. I think he saw the Twilight Council as well, so he's going to start guessing about what exactly is going on. I mean, he saw 4 Stalkers in his opponent's main. I think he saw a Stalker in his opponent's natural expansion, so he might be able to guess Blink. But from here, going to be adding on that Immortal. So just making 1 Void Ray, and that's it. I guess just to say safe from any scary stuff, scary pushes. And tacking on that Immortal. Actually continue with Void Ray. So it looks like the composition he's electing to go for now is going to be heavy Immortal, heavy Void Ray, which is pretty interesting to say the least.
It is. We've seen a couple players try to use it before. Usually the weakness of that composition is if your opponent identifies you're going that and builds Zealots, you just lose.
Yeah.
Of course, they have to have some anti-air as well, but the Zealots will... Your Immortals are basically worthless if they have a sufficient number of Zealots, because you have nothing that kills Zealots effectively. But if your opponent overreacts to your airplay and goes pure Blink Stalker, then the Immortals all of a sudden become very, very, very valuable. But Monster is getting that Templar Archive, so that pretty much means that he wants to go up to Templar, which means he's going to be spending a lot of gas on either Templar or Archons, which means he's going to have a lot of minerals extra, so he'll probably have plenty of Zealots, and the Immortals are not going to be very effective. If Tortuga can identify this and proceed to Colossi, then he's going to have a very scary army. Oh, but he's actually... Is he going to move out on the map with this force? Oh,
he is.
No, if he gets caught, if he tries to attack against the mass warp and I mean, Monster's going to have like 1 billion warp gates. And
8?
Yeah, 8.
8 warp gates.
1 billion divided by, you know, 112 million or whatever is 8. So I was off by a significant factor.
Okay, forgive you.
Sometimes I approximate just a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's going to back up. He's not going to continue
Very
forward.
smart. Just use the Phoenixes, do some more harass. You got to be careful at this point because, you know, Blink Stalkers, potential feedbacks, it can be a little scary. Is he going to blink in it? Oh, 1 Phoenix takes a couple hits there.
Robotics Bay has been placed down by Tortuga and spotted by a hallucinated Phoenix from Monster, so he knows exactly what's going on, adding on plenty of Stalkers, Zealots, and Archons.
Tortuga could be in trouble. He's trying to take a 3rd base against an opponent who's going for an 8-gate timing attack. He's got to get a wall up and keep his teams behind that wall. If he lets too many Zealots get into action in the battle, he's going to be in trouble. The key thing here is he needs to sacrifice. Oh, good. He canceled a third base. Perfect reaction. Now he's got to get a wall set up and just turtle up, because as he gets a couple Colossi out, he's going to be way ahead. But the trick is getting that many Colossi out against an opponent who has 8 gates of reinforcements.
Should he turtle up or should he Tortuga up?
Ooh, tricky, tricky.
I don't know. All right, he did cancel that Nexus, though, so that's definitely a good decision. Monster posturing outside this location. Again, he has 8 gates behind this. Definitely wants to place down a lot of pressure. Is he... I think he even hallucinated some Zealots.
He did. Yeah, there's 4 fake Zealots. That's actually a pretty good use of hallucination, because given his army composition, there's not that many great places to use Force Field. He will want to have Guardian Shield. Oh, wow. The Blink Stalkers. If he can lure enough units up into the main, then the rest of his army can go sack that natural.
Photon overcharges on that next.
So Stalkers
trying to snipe some Void Rays, but a couple being lifted up there. Going to try to blink out of there. Will he take advantage and try to charge to the natural? No, not just yet.
Yeah, he just actually just lost a lot of Stalkers for nothing there.
I don't even think Tortuga used Prismatic Alignment.
No, yeah, I mean, I guess he felt he didn't need to, or perhaps forgot about it. Now he's going to commit. You know, those pylons are really well positioned here.
Blinking to the high ground, trying to target down those Void Rays. Photon Overcharge is still in effect on this Nexus. The first Colossus is about to pop. It's kind of hard to tell what's going on, considering these guys are so close in color, but Monster has that supply lead, 110 to 78. The charge lots proving, or the Zealots charging in here. We got some Archons there as well, and plenty of Sentries and Stalkers. And Monster looking pretty darn good. The first Colossus popping out, but he's going to die in a few seconds. Yes, he does go down. And Monster looking good.
He is. It's a really great timing to exploit the fact his opponent was mostly Immortals and Void Rays, using a very high Zealot count to just crush through that without too much of a problem here. I mean, Tortuga's probes are fighting valiantly, but they're not going to last too long. Probes are not designed to fight against charge on Archon. There's
the GG from Tortuga, and Monster takes game number 1 of this second semi-final best of 3. Not too shabby at all. It's nice he was able to identify exactly what his opponent is doing consistently throughout that game, sending those hallucinated units across the map, which is so important when you're trying to find out, all right, what is my opponent doing? What kind of timing can I go for to take advantage of whatever mistake he's making or whatever tech path he's trying to proceed towards? He was able to identify the progress of that robotics phase, the progress of that third base. He's like, all right, let's try to hit this with 8 gates, and it worked.
It was. I really liked the way he blinked up into the main in that battle. The Immortals maybe could have focused Stalkers a little bit better, but the key thing is without that blink, he had so many Zealots and Archons that even though Stalkers have 6 range, majority of his Stalkers actually would have been treating pylons or the Nexus. They wouldn't have been focusing down key units. So when he blinked into the main, that brought the Stalkers in range to really focus down those Void Rays, and that was key there. Getting rid of the Void Rays, and then, you know, he had so many Zealot Archon, and there's nothing to answer. It's a single Colossus, which of course was taken down later as well.
Very well played by Monster. He's going to take a 1-0 advantage in this best of 3, guys. Stay tuned. The winner of this semi-final will advance to the finals to play RSVP. Monster is 1 win away, while Tortuga needs to win 2 in a row. We'll see what happens, guys. Stay tuned. Game 2 coming up.